Hey guys, I'm back. Um, just wanted to respond to one more thing in in Audrey's post. Um, so Audrey's saying that so this is a trope that comes up a lot about trans women. So somatically males who identify as women, um, generally, uh, a lot of times, if they identify as lesbians, they want to be part of lesbian spaces. Um, and what it is, I think, is trans women disidentify from man. They want an alternative, and right now the only alternative is woman. Um, and the only spaces organized that way are lesbian spaces. Um, but so that's the kicker is they want to go into spaces where they are not accepted, right? Because they want to escape masculinity. Just like it's the same thing as the lesbians. They're androphobes. They're phobic to masculinity. We are. I mean, I have a great deal of androphobia, which I deal with in my own way. And that's why we want to go into lesbian spaces for exactly the same reason that lesbians want to go into lesbian spaces. But because of these categories, you define my wanting to be in that space as invasion. You could also say, so Audrey says the thing that characterizes a male is their need to invade lesbian radical radical lesbian and lesbian spaces. You could say the same. The thing that identify that the thing that defines a lesbian is their need to invade lesbian spaces. I mean, it's exactly the same fucking logic. I'm sorry. Um, it's that was really hard. I wanted to find a space beyond the masculine spaces, and I found out that feminism was pushing me back. It's like there's this no man's zone, this Berlin Wall or something that you're climbing over to get out of masculinity, and then you find that the women are shooting at you when you get over because they feel like you haven't paid. They find someone, they find this escapee, and they say, "Ooh, we have someone, and we can make them pay for the crimes of men." Um, and that's why the whole transgender lesbian thing, it contains its own contradictions. I don't want to get all Hegelian here, but it it contains its own contradictions. As long as that male female thing is there, transgender lesbian just won't ever really work. It might work for a couple people, but and then just my thing that I want to put up there. The reason I came back to record this video, which I haven't gotten to yet, is that you say invading lesbian spaces, and see that's what always happens if I talk. I've been here. If I talk about getting hatred, that's always, well, you were invading a lesbian space. So there's always like, oh, well, you asked for it. There's always, how did Jasper ask for it? You're asking for it. But go back to my video, you notice that it was not a lesbian festival; it was a queer festival. So here you have the hypocrisy in lesbian culture, where the younger lesbians are labeling themselves queer and saying queer is open to everybody, including Jasper. So you have parts of this identity group saying, "Oh, we're queer, we're beyond identity politics, we're open to everyone." And then you have the fucking radical separatists that go to the same spot and with their hatred. I mean, it's kind of like Halloween in the Castro. You can't have it because you got people together that are going to shoot each other. It shows how queer is an empty promise, a false promise. It's worse than nothing. It's not a unified movement. It papers over the differences. It's a wish. It's a wish. Um, so talk about it's not a lesbian space I'm invading. It's an open air festival in Golden Gate Park for the queers. You know, and that's been in the past when it's really hurt has been the same. It was at an art gallery that didn't even label itself as lesbian or queer. It just advertised itself as an art opening for a new photo zine. So maybe you guys remember that. And it turned out to be a lot of lesbian separatists there who treated me like shit. I wasn't invading a lesbian space. Lesbians were invading an art space and taking it over and being like gang members and finding and labeling Jasper as a man that they could make pay for men's crimes. So bye bye.